Tila, for the beautiful prayer and for the text. And welcome everyone to our public meetings today. It is a great happiness for me and for all of us to be around you, to reflect upon Jesus' teachings and the Spiritism. Right? So today we brought this topic regarding our ultimate purpose. We are all human beings, and we are here with an ultimate purpose on earth. And let's see what Spiritism says to us. What is our ultimate purpose on earth, according to Spiritism? All right, so we just read the text, the harmonization text that says from the crib and the tumble. What is the distance? What we're doing here between those two beginnings and ends, which is normally that actually exchanging itself as beginning and end at itself. Like when we are starting one, we are finishing the other, and when we're finishing the other, we are starting a new one. So let's see, what do we need to do while we are here, right? What Spiritism says to us. So what do you think? Let's start with your own reflections and then we can move forward. What do you think that we are doing here?
Learning.
Good, thanks. One more?
Progressing.
Progressing. Thank you.
Evolution, self-improvement.
Self-improvement, evolution. Nice. Anybody else? No? Perfect. You're all right. You know everything. So let's go to the passes. Nothing more to say. It's all good. Everybody's good. Yes, that's right. We are here to reach perfection, right? We are here to enlighten ourselves, to improve, to progress, to learn. We are here to do all those. But we are here to do a little bit, like we can extend this a little bit more. We are here to teach, and also we are here to learn, but also to teach. Because we are on earth with this big purpose, this profound purpose that is so important to give us big meaning to our life. Our life is not only wake up in the morning, go to work, work, eat, drink, go to bed. There is much more around this. There is much more that is included in our routine, in our daily basis, that we need to be aware of, that is important for us to be aware of, so we can have life, but a life in full, as Christ told us. To really understand what is our role here now will give us this feeling that we are part of something bigger than this body, than our personality, than our reality, that we see with our eyes, our physical eyes, but we feel with our hearts. So let's move on. I would like to just show a little bit of our bibliography that we have researched in order to bring this teaching, these reflections today. And basically, the Spirit's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, and the Gospel of John and Matthew, right? So let's get started. What Spiritism says about what we're doing here. And I'm gonna use those two books. There's lots of marks here. So I'm gonna read some of those answers and some of what Spiritism brings to us, because we can have a better understanding, right? When we really go through the questions, when we study these wonderful books that Allan Kardec provide us with. Very good. So let's start with one great question that Kardec asked to the Spiritists, the superior spirits. The question 132, what is the purpose of spirit incarnation? So we are all human beings, but we are all immortal spirits. And we are here, as Attila read in the text, temporarily, right? We came from the spiritual realm, and we are going back to there after this corporeal existence. So that's the reason that Kardec brought this question. Well, okay, what is the purpose of spirit incarnation? And the answer, very clear, God imposes incarnation as a tool to reach perfection. So how we can get perfection in, let's say, in a profession that we, or in a musical instrument that we want to learn. It's not through practice and study. We need to study and we need to practice. So we are here to do both. To study what? Study the gospel, that it's a great tool that provides us answers to many questions that we have, how we behave, how we should see our lives, and mainly the challenges that we have in life, right? Because those are the ones that really sometimes take our balance away. So gospel provides us this wonderful instructions and information that can help us in our journey. And also the Spiritism, which brings clarification in all Jesus' teachings, and we're going to see this later on. We can seek for help from the books that the Spiritism brings to us as a revelation. Like Francisco Cândido Xavier wrote 400 books that brings us so many information regarding our being, our real and our reality as spirits. So Kardec then asks, what is the purpose? Well, God imposes. So there's no way that we can say, all right, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to incarnate. Okay, I'm tired of it. I'm going to stay here in the spiritual realm. I'm not going to go there to the earth anymore. There's any chance that we can say that? We can say that.
Yeah. You won't move forward though.
That's correct. So that's the only way that we can move forward, that we can really get that perfection. Why we need to be perfect? Why do I need to be perfect? I'm not a perfectionist. Why do you think?
It allows us to appreciate the fullness that God intends for us.
Perfect. Otherwise, we're going to be always in this planet,
Yes.
and we think that this is all. What Jesus said about that? In my Father's house, there are many mansions. Is that correct?
There are many rooms.
Many rooms.
In my Father's mansion, there are many rooms.
In my Father's mansions, there are many rooms. What is the Father's mansion?
Universe.
The universe. There's many rooms, many planets that we think that is inhabited, there is nobody there. But the Spiritism comes to clarify us. Yes, nothing that God does, it's useful. Like there's for nothing. There's for a reason. And we can move forward to those better places if we become better. Depends on us, right? In the question 115, that it's a great question, that it's the basement for many other ones. The spirits, we are going to say that God created all of us in simplicity and without knowledge. And He has given to each of us a mission to enlighten ourselves and to make us gradually arrive to the perfection through the knowledge of the truth. And if we accept our mission, right, with happiness and, let me see how they say it, quickly, we are going to reach the happiness promised to us. So, if we're going to get to perfection, we're going to be happy. Right? The question 132, the spirits, they are going to give more information regarding these answers, not the total answer here. They are going to say that incarnation has another aim, not only to get the perfect, not only for us to learn, for us to get more knowledge, but also we can fit in to perform or to get part or to being part of the work creation, God's creation. We can take part of God's creation. We can help collaborate with God's creation. What is God's creation?
The universe.
The universe, but we are here on this planet, the earth itself. So everything that we do in each part of our work, like professional field, we can collaborate with God's creation. We can collaborate to each other. We can collaborate with the planet itself, like work in the environment field, helping with animals, helping to make our city better, right, Luis?
Yeah.
So all this we
That's
are.
what I do every day.
Yeah, I know.
Creating with this world in the city.
I know. Everybody complains, but your good intention is.
My good intention, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So in this way, we can contribute with our part towards the general good, while achieving our own advancement. We can collaborate with each other, with where we are, with our society, and at the same time, we are collaborating with ourselves. Why? Because when I do good to you, to whom I'm doing good first? To myself. Every time that I do something good to other people, I'm doing to myself, firstly. Right? Because that's what we have in return. The feeling of peace, contentment, and joy that we have when we do something good remains in our own hearts. Right? And then there is another question, a little bit further in the book, the question 573, that also complements this one, because Kardec is going to ask, what is the mission of incarnate spirits? And the answer is educating other incarnates. See the responsibility? We are all teachers, everyone. Helping their advancement and improving their institutions through direct material means. And they complement by saying, these missions are more or less general and important. The ones that are firmer accomplishes a mission as good as who that governs or instructs. Everything in nature is linked together, and each spirit, while purifying himself by his incarnation, concurs under the human form to the accomplishment of the providential plans. Each of you has a mission, like the question 115 says, because each of you can be useful in some way or another. We can be useful in some way or another. So sometimes we hear people saying, I don't know, my life doesn't have any meaning. What I'm doing here, right? Why I'm here? So that's the question. Hi, hello. So that's the answer. Anything that we are doing, if we do with love, if we're trying to be useful, we are doing something. We are helping, collaborating with others and ourselves. Right? So that's very important for us to know those two questions, because they provided the answers what we're doing here, why we are incarnated, right? And also give us this gratitude feeling to be part of, to this sense of belonging. I'm part of this universe. I'm part of this, something that is bigger than I think that it was. I feel happy because I am collaborating. I'm learning. And it's very good. It fills our hearts with gratitude and joy. Right? So, to be perfect or to reach perfection is not something that Spiritism tells. It's not something that Spiritism invented, created, and say, okay, this is what your goal. No.
Give me the checklist.
Give me the checklist.
I want a checklist.
Yeah.
15 steps to reach happiness.
Exactly.
Money guaranteed. Or your money back.
Or your money back. Put on Google. Jesus told us that when he said, be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Right, Jesus had told us. Jesus actually has told us everything, but we couldn't understand his words at that moment. So Spiritism is here to explain us, hey, that's amazing. Spiritism is here to tell us more what he understands, like why Jesus said that to me, why Jesus said that to them. But okay, so if we think God is perfect, because he's talking about God, Heavenly Father. So God is perfect. How can I be perfect as God? God created a universe, like the Spiritism said, or says to us. I was not planning that, but I just realized that it's important to bring this question, which is the question number 1 of the Spirit's book. What is the question number 1 of the Spirit's book? Who knows?
What is God?
God is God. Exactly. And what is God?
The supreme intelligence.
Exactly. God is the supreme intelligence, first cause of all things. How can we be perfect as God then? That's a big task. Kardec helps us to understand that. And when he says God, since God possesses infinite perfection in all things, the proposition, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, if it taken literally, would presuppose the possibility of attaining absolute perfection. So he is the supreme intelligence of the universe. Are we be able to get to that level? Supreme intelligence? Create everything? Kardec is going to say that if it were given to man to be as perfect as his creator, then he would become his equal. We would become God. Can you imagine how many gods would have?
8 billion just in this world.
Exactly. How would be the universe then? Can you imagine? It's complicated, right? Well, but this is impossible. Kardec says that this is inadmissible. But the people to whom Jesus spoke did not understand this nuance. They didn't know who or what is God. They didn't know that. They just believed in God, one God only, because the Hebrew people believed in one God. They knew that God was powerful in one God, but they didn't understand the nuances. They didn't understand how we evolve, how we could become better, right? And then Jesus limited himself to the presentation of a model and tell them that they must strive to reach it. Right? So this is the model. If you believe in God, and God is good, and God is love, strive to be good. Strive to reach love. So that's why Jesus told us this beautiful sentence. And he said that after he provide us a guideline how to reach that perfection in the Sermon of the Mountain. The most known teachings from Jesus. Even Gandhi, that was not Christian, said that if all the books in the world would destroy it, and only the Sermon of the Mount would remain, we didn't need anything anymore. That would be the pathway to the perfection. Sermon of the Mountain. Matthew 5, and this is the verse 48, but I highly recommend you guys to read the Sermon of the Mountain, because Jesus gave us there so many teachings, so many guidelines. How can we behave in our society, with ourselves, how to cultivate the virtues in our lives, how to be better. And in the Gospel according to Spiritism, this is the text that really inspired me to bring this topic. I was doing my Gospel at home, and then I opened my Gospel, and then that was the text that I got. And that inspired me so much, because this is my condition right now. I am an worldly person. All of us are. And sometimes it's really a challenge to be an immortal spirit, so to feel that we are spirits living this world. It's so easy for us to just believe in what we see and not believe in what we don't see, right? But we have so many confirmations and so many clarifications that Spiritism brings to us that we are not from here. We are here temporarily, but we are going to leave. And we can see that because every day somebody's coming and somebody's going. But we just, we are just looking at this present reality, this worldly reality, and we don't think about it. And this is something that everyone should be, not preoccupied but occupied. We should occupy our time to understand a little bit more about our origins, our destinies. Because this is something that, I'm sorry, this is a Sunday morning, I don't want to give bad news, but we're going to discarnate. We're going to get there, we're going to be there, so what is going to happen? What's going to happen, right? So it's important for us to try to understand a little bit, because we are going to go through that pathway, so I want to know a little bit in advance, how is that country? When you come to Canada, I bet that you went online, that you searched about Canada, did you do all your homework, right? Nobody's doing any homework to go back to our spiritual realm. So it's important for us to do that. And I loved this text because it touched very much my heart. And it's kind of a guideline. How can we be in the world? How can we act as immortal spirits in this planet, around our society, with our fellows, friends and family and everything. And this is part of the chapter 17, Be Perfect. It's amazing, this text, this chapter. it gives us so many information, how to be a good person, about the virtues, how to be a good spiritist, right? So it's really nice. But we are gonna read a little bit the Worldly Person text. That is the main topic that we are reflecting today. And I'm gonna just give some topics, bullet topics, and then we are gonna read a little bit more in deeply here directly from the book, okay? So the text starts with our friend, a protecting spirit from Bordeaux in 1863, by saying to us, "Lead up your spirits towards God." What does it mean? What do you think that this is regarding? Lift up.
That's where your attention should be.
How do we normally do that?
Prayer.
Prayer. Right. So he starts the text by saying that. And he is also inviting us to feel this, to have this sentiment of pity, that we can say that it's a compassion. To have this compassion to ourselves. He says that we need to have this compassion to animate our hearts, when we are imploring the assistance from the good spirits, when we are praying, asking for help, to have this compassion towards our weaknesses, to not be able to see what we should be seeing, or to be so concerned about challenges in life. He says that purify your hearts. Do not allow yourselves to be disturbed by futile and mundane thoughts. Mundane thoughts. So for Portuguese speakers, it's a little bit easier to understand because mundane comes from mundo, or world. For English speakers, the mundane is a Latin word that means things from this world. So futile and things from this world. Sometimes we are so concerned about what you're gonna use in that occasion, what we are gonna buy in Costco, what you're gonna spend our Sunday, and this is okay. There's no problem at all with that. That's fine. That's part of our lives. But sometimes don't let our thoughts to be so much like thinking about this. Just let it go. We're going to pass through. Okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. Okay, but try to connect to ourselves. Thinking that, okay, I need to do that. This is part of my life and my duties. But when I am doing that, don't act like there is nothing more important than that thing that I need to do. Just realize all the time that we are spiritual beings. Why I'm saying that? Because during the pandemic, we saw so many things that were so sad. People acting as the world would end and fighting to each other upon toilet papers. So it's when we have that in mind, that we are spiritual beings, and if the world ended up, which is not going to happen because God is around, that God is looking after us, we are invited to be courteous, kindness. We are invited to love each other. Doesn't matter what. So that's what the Spirit is saying. Don't let things, material things, disturb yourself. Think that this is a challenge in my life. All right, how can I fix this? How can I work in order to solve this problem? And then he's gonna keep saying, let me go to the next bullet point. you must dwell with the people of your time. So sometimes we think that we should, like, I am a spiritist, or I am a very spirituality person. I cannot live in society. No, society is not good. I'm gonna isolate myself and be meditating.
I'm too good for
Forever.
I'm too good, yes. These people don't deserve my presence, my enlightened presence. So it's important for us to understand that, right? That we must dwell with the people of our time. He says, in the manner in which they live. Sacrifice once, even frivolities, oh my gosh, this is or of the day, like frivolidades of the day, but sacrifice them with a pure sentiment which can sanctify them. How can we do that? How can we live with each other? And what does he mean with sacrifice? How can we sacrifice our things, like what we are doing? Living with each other, sacrificing. It's not sacrifice, okay, I need to go there. I need to live in society. I'm so good, but I need to be there. Let me do this sacrifice. No. Sacrifice, if you go to the root of the word, means sacred work. Meaning that we need to put our hearts, our good intentions to that work. So that way we can sanctify that work. So be with ourselves, be each other, but always with a pure heart, with a good intention. And he is going to say a little bit more about that when he said, you are called upon to be in contact with spirits of diverse natures and opposite characters. Do not enter into conflict with anyone with whom you may find yourself. Always be happy and content with the happiness which comes from a clear conscience and the contentment of one who will inherit heaven and is counting the days until they receive their inheritance. Be content, be happy. We are here. Jesus never isolated himself, and he was a pure spirit. He is a pure spirit. And he is all the time with his disciples, dinner with the publicans, with the sinners, between quotes. He was all the time living in that society. But he's inviting us to be like the light. You know, the light goes to the beautiful fields and also go to terrible fields, terrible places, and never contaminated. The light goes and just illuminate. That's what Jesus said to us, be the light of this world. Right? And he's gonna keep saying, do nothing without first thinking of God. All right, and he gives us a very good instruction, advice here when he says, it is enough that at the commencement and at the end of each task, you lift up your thoughts to the Creator, asking Him with a heartfelt impulse for His protection in order to execute the work or His blessing on its termination. Do we normally do that? I don't. Every time that we start a task, that we start a task, raise our hearts, our thoughts, asking God's protection. And every time that we end one task in our day, thank God, ask His blessing, because we are here. He provides us this opportunity to be here. If God said, no, you're not going to be there tomorrow, you're not going to be here tomorrow. He is the supreme intelligence. He is the cause. But he's not going to do that because, because he's not in that moody today. He's like, okay, I'm not going to give you another chance. No, he's going to do that because he has an intelligence that is supreme, and he knows what is better for us. So we are, as personality, I, Sonia Maria Bernardes, I had a beginning of my existence, I'm living my existence, and I have an end. But I, as immortal spirit, I will be living forever. This personality, Sonia, is helping me to learn, to get that perfection. With her tasks, her professional work, her family, her friends, her society where she is living now. Important for us to try to separate our immortal spirits from our personality. Not separate, like disregarding our personality, but embrace it as a great instrument for us to improve. And he finishes this text by saying, be happy within the picture of human needs, but in this happiness never allow a thought or an act which could offend God. Sanctify your act. He's going to finish, God is love, and he blesses all who sanctify their own love. It's a great, great text. I highly recommend you guys to read this again, reflect upon it, because give us some guidance, like okay, so how can I be around people from my time, my society, but remembering that I am a spiritual being, because it's too easy for us just to go with the flow. Everybody's in that egoistic behavior. We just go with them. We just flow with it. Would you like to say something? No. Okay. So those are the greatest instructions from this benevolent spirit, and he gives us like a good picture how we should behave in society. But I would like to bring other two common ways that sometimes prevents us to living as immortal spirits, which is attachment and disdain. I changed that, but apparently I didn't change. Okay, the word disdain would be disregard, like desprezo. One is apego, another is desprezo. So those are the two extremes of a very common movement that we have in life. Or sometimes we are very attached to material things, right? We are attached to people. I cannot live without him. Oh, right? The love, I cannot live without here and she and him. Or I cannot live without my dog, my cat, my plants. We are attached. Or sometimes we are attached to ways to think, to beliefs. Okay, this is what I believe, okay? We are going to go to hell, or we're going to go to heaven, that's it. One life, that's it. We are not open to explore other informations or reflect upon them. Does it make sense? Would be fair? Would not be fair? Would be like reflect God's love or not? So we are human beings, and God gave us intelligence, gave us resources. We are invited to explore those resources, to be opened. Kardec was the one that all the time was not informing, but he's also stimulating all of us to open our minds, to have a library with all the books from other religions, other philosophers, so we could expand our thoughts, our reflections. Because Spiritism is not the final truth, doesn't contain all the truth. Every religion contains a part of the truth. And we are invited to be open to all religions, to be open to investigate Spiritism, to understand what is the one that is best for me. I'm not saying that the other religions are not good. They are good for those that are fine with them. It's enough for them. Perfect. So, and other religions I couldn't find any beliefs or the answers that I was looking for in other religions, but I found on Spiritism. So I'm happy here. But does not mean that I need to be close my eyes and not see anything else. It's important to be open, to explore, to think about, to use our rational thoughts, right? To make sure that our way to God is the way that is helping me the most, that way that I chose. And attachment is this thing or this movement, this behavior that we have that enslave our lives. In titles, I am Dr. so and so. But we forget that we have this title and these things for that determined time. And that after that, we are not going to have it anymore. What do we have? What do we really have?
Just our spirit.
And you said that we came here to learn. So what we're going to take with us when we leave?
We have the time to make good things.
Perfect. This time that we have right now. Tomorrow we don't have this time here anymore. We have the time for tomorrow. But we don't know if we're going to have the time tomorrow. Only God knows. But what we have done today is going to stay with us in our hearts. And that's the only thing that we're going to take with us. The only thing that we possess. We only possess what we can give. I can give love. I possess love. I can give forgiveness. It's because I possess the forgiveness, compassion. The virtues is the knowledge that we came to learn. Those are the best knowledge that we can acquire in our lives. But we can disregard too, and sometimes we disregard everything in material world and even our own bodies. Some people say, okay, that everything that you do, like when you take care of your body, doing exercises, we women, we love makeup and things like, okay, help, right? My aging solutions, lotions and everything. This is great. Yes, we are taking care of the instrument of our souls. And it's good for us to be happy with our instrument, to take care of it, eating well, practicing exercises, because it's our instrument. It needs to be aligned with our goals, with our purpose. How can I perform a good goal if the instrument that I'm using is not in good conditions? Like, how can I drive to Banff if my car is broke? Right? So it's important to have this in mind. And I got this quote from Socrates, and I really loved what he says about, what his doctrine says about existence on earth. I don't know if you know, but at the beginning of the Gospel according to Spiritism, Kardec is going to bring a summary of Socrates and Plato doctrine, which is very similar to Spiritism. So Socrates and Plato, they lived 300 or 400 years before Christ. And their doctrine, Socrates didn't write anything. Plato was his disciple that wrote everything and provided us this knowledge. But Socrates used to say that he believed that the ultimate goal of human existence is not just to live, but to live a good and meaningful and virtuous life. He defined a good life as one living according to virtue. Virtue is knowledge. Socrates said, according to him, a good life is guided by the reason, rational, right, thinking, good virtue and moral principles. And he argued that our lives should not be measured by our external accomplishments, material possessions, wealth, and power, but by our inner qualities and virtues. That's what it just said, what we're going to take with us when we leave this world.
It's interesting. Sorry.
No, you can continue.
What you're referencing here and underscoring, I feel even science, specifically psychology, is also starting to recognize the same message, because specifically in positive psychology, which has become a very popular field in the last number of years, which rightfully so, because it's about making people, what makes people happy and motivated.
Positive, right?
Exactly. So when people object to that. But basically, this idea of happiness and what really makes us happy, and there's more nuance, but the two main categories are extrinsic happiness and intrinsic happiness. So, as Socrates suggested, extrinsic happiness would be money, wealth, power, these types of things that outside of ourselves we can use to validate. And then there's the intrinsic happiness, which actually what they describe as typically is personal growth, relationships, and service to the community. And going back to what you were saying about Spiritism, about what we get to take, well, when we leave this world, all that extrinsic stuff stays here. It's not something that we carry on because it's only a function of this world that we live in. But all the intrinsic stuff, which psychology says actually makes us much more content and fulfilled over the course of our lives to a greater extent than any of these extrinsic qualities, those are the things that seemingly, even according to Socrates' virtues and the underscorings of Spiritism as to what's going to matter to us, our moral virtues, our behavior, the learnings, the growth that we take, those are the things that actually pass on with us. What we learned here, we take the personal growth. The relationships we developed here, they continue because they go with us. Those people move with us. The service we provided and the support we did and the contribution we made, those are always going to be etched in our memories and in the memories of all of those spirits that leave with us, or that leave at whatever time they leave but will always remember. So it's almost like, to your point earlier about it all coming together in this beautiful oneness, it just all, that's one of the reasons I love Spiritism, because if you really just step back, it all starts to kind of mix together, all the different areas of telling the same truth. And to your point as well earlier about the meaning of words, and I thought it was great when you were sacrificed, because I didn't know that, but also even perfection, which was a theme of a lot of this talk, and you started off with a quote from Jesus. The idea of perfectare from Latin doesn't mean what we think it means today. It doesn't mean flawlessness without any mistakes as we understand it now. It actually initially just meant to be complete. So even that statement from Jesus, be perfect as God is perfect, doesn't mean to be the same completeness as God. That would be inadmissible. As Kardec said, it means to emulate that completeness as in our own lives we can be complete. We can be complete in our own lives. And that contentment, that satisfaction underscores that completeness, which emulates but does not completely copy the completeness that is of God. And in that way, again, it is all complete in a way and perfect.
Exactly. I'm so happy that you brought that. Because sometimes we think that, all right, so I need to be complete or perfect in this incarnation. No, we need to make efforts to reach that perfection. Perfection, it's a process. It's not something that it's done, right? We are going to get to the perfection one day. Not today, Today we are in process. We are working in progress. We are working towards that perfection. Each day, a little bit more, a little bit more. And that's how we gradually get closer and closer to God, to
And
His
this-
perfection.
In the Spirits book, if you start at question 100, Kardec, with the help of the Spirits, give an idea, what does that look like? What does progress look like, right? We start from our first, the scale 10, and go to scale 1. So at least the Spirits are also giving, just calm down.
Yeah.
You have this path to follow. Don't rush. Nothing is going to be turned and you're going to figure out everything by tomorrow or by the end of this incarnation. There is this whole journey
That's
that
right.
we do follow.
And Jesus told us that when He said, walk while you have light.
Yeah.
He didn't say run. He said, walk while you have light. So why we are here learning in this wonderful, beautiful planet? Let's walk, admire, living in a full happiness, contentment, and working all the time to get better, to be better for us and for the society where we are living. And we know Jesus also said that my kingdom is not of this world, but I'm not going to tell about this now. I highly recommend you read the book, what Kardec says on the chapter 3 about this quote from Jesus, because we don't have time anymore. I'm sorry. But I would like to finish our talk today, explain a little bit what we are doing here, our existential plan. So, we are here for a reason. We have talked about that already. But when we decide to come, when the Spirit says God imposes the incarnation to us, so He didn't say, okay, Attila, go to the line and go, just jump into your mother's belly.
Jump out of this train.
Yeah. No, right? We didn't just throw out from the train. No, we had a plan. Like when we go to school, when we search for a school for our kids, and we do all the plans to come to Canada, we did everything. However, when we come to this incarnation, we think that that's how it happens, right? No, it's not. So the Spirits are going to say that there is a plan. We go there, we sit with our mentors, when we talk about okay, what I did the last, okay, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I did that, okay, let's see what I'm going to do in the next one. So I plan everything, who's going to be my mother, father, sisters. So don't come to say, I didn't ask to born, to be birthed. I asked to my mom, I asked to my father, I asked to my brothers and sisters. So I'm here because they all embraced. We are all here together in this plan.
Some cases might have begged, right?
Huh?
In some cases, we might have begged.
Oh yes. Oh, please. There is a very nice book from André Luiz that says that there is a reincarnation of one of the spirits, Sigismund. I really highly recommend you read this text. So we came with an existential purpose, an existential program. These two forms our plan, existential plan. The existential purpose is the virtues that we are invited to develop in all circumstances of our lives. Do you know that patience that we never have? But all the times there, one thing after another is happening in our lives, and we need to be patient. So that's the virtue that you need to develop, because all the circumstances you're going to bring situations where you are invited. I'm working towards that. I'll get there one day. God helps me. And the existential program is my family, the society where I was born, the society where I decided to go to live. So nothing is by chance. Emmanuel used to say that there is a shake of hand without a purpose. There is nothing by chance in our lives. So everything that happens in my life, it's because it's part of my existential plan. There are some situations that I chose that is not part of my plan, and then it's like, that time then we'll say, okay, I don't feel that this is, I don't feel comfortable here. I feel like a fish out of the bowl, because you are kind of walking away from our plan. And then our voices, our conscious is like that, okay, how Google says?
Redirecting.
Recalculating, because that's part of our journal. So in our journey is going to Banff, then we decide to enter in Canmore, okay, recalculating, because that's our journey here. So when we are walking or we are acting according to our existential plan, we feel that feeling of contentment and happiness, that I'm doing right. I feel that I am doing what I'm supposed to do. So everyone, each of us, we have our existential plan. We are with the ones that we should be with, that we are supposed to be with. There is nothing wrong. Like De Angelis used to say, the things cannot be well, but everything's right. Everything's right. And then we can finish our talks today by this beautiful quote from Jesus. Blessed are the humble, for they will inherit the earth. And also to wrap up or to answer more effectively the question that I brought from the beginning, what are humans' ultimate purpose on earth according to Spiritism? I guess there is no answer better than the 573, when the Spirit says, educating other incarnates. Educating ourselves first in order to educating others. Helping their advancement. And improving their institutions through direct material means. Missions vary in scope and importance, and the individuals who works as a farmer accomplishes a mission, just as a politician or a teacher does. Everything in nature is connected, and all spirits, while purifying themselves through incarnation, contribute to the accomplishment of God's plan. Each of you has a mission, because if each of you can be useful in a way or another. This is very important for us to bring meaning to our lives. Hopefully, you could feel this meaning to your lives as I felt to my life. Any questions, concerns, complaints? Go to Luis, please.
It's
all good? Okay, perfect. Let's do our final prayer then. Lord, we raise our thoughts and our hearts at this moment in gratitude for all the reflections that you allow us, that we do today, for the Spiritism that brings so much clarifications to what we are doing here, where we came from and where we are going to. That brings so much meaning to our lives, peace to our hearts, purpose for living. May you, Lord, be with us, empowering of our will to do good in every and each moment in our lives, where we are, with whoever we are. Help us to have the courage to practice the virtues, to raise our thoughts, to connect it with our reality as spiritual beings, having a corporeal existence. While we are here, let's connect with our existential plan. Let's connect it with our real purpose, which is reach perfection, which is learn, which is enlighten our souls, which is collaborating with each of us. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, all spiritual beings that are with us today, incarnates and discarnated. God bless you all, and that may Jesus be part of our Sundays, bring peace and light to our mind and to our hearts, now and ever. So be it.